Information fueled,
opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
7:08, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. It's great to be back from my unpaid suspension. Hope you're doing well. EJ Haust is with us. And EJ, always great to have you on.
Good morning.
EJ, I want to play some audio for you. I guess this is a trend on TikTok and all of these other, places. I'm not going to call them numbskull places because there's some good stuff that happens on TikTok as well. But I thought this was funny. My buddy, another friend, Aaron, sent this to me. It's part of a montage of women who are supposedly talking about poisoning their Trump-loving husbands. And this is part of what that montage is.
Speaking to me is a privilege. You do not have privileges.
That's so stupid. Are there really women out there talking? I know that there's some sort of a sex strike thing going on. To be perfectly honest, I don't know how much of this is real and how much of this is just internet stupidity. I mean, you're more connected on this stuff than I am. Are women really are they really going on a sex strike?
So they're saying they are now, but I give it about, 3 months.
Yeah.
I will say I know some young people, some women in their early 20s who are pretty thrilled about this that's happening on the left because they feel like it's weeding out the dating pool. It's giving good conservative men like where they need to look for good women, right? So those women who are currently unmarried or unattached and looking for good conservative men, it's going to be easier for them to be spotted. There's women who are shaving their heads. They're wearing blue bracelets or getting blue heart tattoos so that they can identify each other. And I just think it's kind of hilarious. 6 months from now, when their hair is kind of growing back, they're still going to be identified as the weirdo who couldn't get over, an election loss, which is sad, but they've done it to themselves. So I don't have a ton of sympathy for that.
No, I mean, I love what Bill Maher said.
My message to the losers: look in the mirror. No? Well, maybe you should. Sorry. Well, that's my feeling. Losers look in the mirror. Okay.
He's absolutely right. Bill Maher making all the sense in the world. It does seem like the world of liberals and liberalism, there's two definitely divided camps, right? The ones that can't get over it and the ones that are looking at themselves in the mirror and they're thinking, where did we go wrong and where can we rebuild? Now, on to the future with Donald Trump. I got to tell you, EJ, I am thrilled with Tom Homan as border czar, and you're online like I am, and this is the audio bite that I've gravitated towards. Tom Homan versus Camilla Jayapal.
Please respect the chair's authority.
I respect the chair's authority, but the chair,
Mr. Homan,
you work for me. I'm a taxpayer. You work for me.
The witness will suspend.
That's Pramila Jayapal, who got really angry at Tom Homan. I love it, and I think that, him being the border czar makes a lot of sense.
Sure, I agree. And, I like how he is no nonsense, very stoic man, whatever. But if you listen to that, you really feel and hear the arrogance. Senators, congressmen, they all kind of have a shelf life, and there's very few that get to D.C. and remain humble, right, and retain their humility. They really feel as though, they are the ruling class. And I think that was displayed there, and he handled it beautifully. Not the only time he's done that either. So really good to see that pick. I like it a lot. I think he will get a lot done and is a no-nonsense kind of guy. So I am thrilled with that pick.
Yeah, and the Twitter is replete with Tom Homan audio bites. And again, I love it. I was speaking earlier, EJ Haust, about how we've got CNN on in the studio and they and other members of the media keep focusing on this word loyalists. Donald Trump is putting in loyalists into his administration. And to me, that seems to be sort of a negative connotation. And I don't know why I'm focused on this, but it does make it seem like Donald Trump is acting as a quote unquote dictator.
Sure. And that's their trick, right? That's what they're hoping is going to be the case. They're going to keep this narrative going for a while. You know, you just mentioned that there's two camps. There's the people who are struggling to get over it. There's the others that are being introspective. I think there's a third camp, and that is the always fighting, right? Their fight is always on. And behind the scenes, they're probably still kind of working to see how they can thwart the Trump presidency, how they can damage him as a person, how they can destroy the MAGA movement. I don't think those people have gone away. I just think they're a little quiet right now, which kind of makes me nervous. But I think CNN using the term loyalist like this so often, and I've actually heard that in a few other circles and from other media types as well. I think you're right. I think that's probably part of their, it doesn't even have to be this massive devised plan. They just all seem to work in step, whether they talk to each other or not. But that'll be a term that they'll use to put him down and to kind of hurt the MAGA movement.
All right, EJ, let's go through some of this. Shocking, and I know this is kind of in the weeds, but because some people care about political appointments, other people don't. I happen to think these are fascinating. And Marco Rubio, possibly for Secretary of State, our own Senator Bill Hagerty, who's going to join me at 8:06. He has also been rumored to be up for that gig of Secretary of State, but word is Marco Rubio has the edge. How this relationship has evolved over the years is pretty stunning, as a matter of fact. Your thoughts on Marco Rubio?
Yeah, I think we're getting a little ahead of our skis here with some of these appointment rumors. I saw someone rather close to the Trump circle post on X last night saying, be careful with what your predictions might be because nothing is official until he's posted it on X on Truth. And I'm following Truth pretty carefully. The last appointments that he made were Lee Zeldin for EPA. And like you mentioned, Elise Stefanik, that was about 16 hours ago. So the rumors about Rubio and Kristi Noem, they came out yesterday at some point. It started gaining steam by last evening. CNN was making some assumptions about that and kind of rumoring that to a higher level. I don't know that Rubio needs a space in the cabinet or at that high up within the administration. There's a few reasons for that, not the least of which is that we need every senator that we've got. And right now he's a senator who is doing good things. And he seems to be making good votes and is on the Trump side right now. He's not always been on Trump's side. And he actually worked pretty heavily opposed to Trump, not just while they were running, but in other situations. So I would rather see him stay a senator right now. Let's just kind of see where that plays out and find someone that is a little more bullish, a little less elitist, a GOP elitist, right? I'm looking for the right term, but it's someone who's more in the establishment type. I don't think it's going to be a great SOS.
I mean, because there's been a bit of a debate between folks within the conservative movement. Trump is at the top of the ticket. I mean, Donald Trump is the president of the United States. So if there's somebody like a Marco Rubio, Kristi Noem, some of these folks that may not be defined, and I'm going to air quote this, loyalist, but they have been, there's possibility that they may be put into these roles. If they haven't been somebody who has been totally loyal or on board with Donald Trump in the past, but they are now, because Donald Trump is at the top of the ticket, they're going to follow his orders, though. So
I agree.
Yeah. So when you look at if Marco Rubio ends up being the Secretary of State, you're right. There's going to be, some hue and cry from some people on the right who are, clear supporters of Donald Trump because they'll feel like Marco Rubio hasn't always been, again, loyal. I'm going to air quote that word. But if Trump's at the top of the ticket, they're going to be executing what the president says needs to be executed, right?
Right. And I think somebody like a Marco Rubio will be, more inclined to push the Trump agenda because he wants to be in good graces with him now, right? So I don't think it would be terrible. I don't have a good feeling about it. It's kind of just an ick that I can't explain, a gut feeling. That, he's got friends in that quote unquote neocon friendship circle, right? So, and he's not always been America first not just in a Trump way, but just in an America way.
Listen, he was pro-amnesty. I mean, way back when, right? So, I mean, trust me when I say, I like some things about Marco Rubio. I think that he's learned from his mistakes, but I think ultimately Trump is going to pick the team that he wants to pick. And if we know anything about Donald Trump, I believe that he's learned from his previous mistakes of picking the wrong people.
Agreed. I think there's a little bit of, keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer kind of thing. And not that Marco Rubio is an enemy, but he's controllable in a place that's in the administration, where if he does stay in the Senate, he can kind of vote against some things that, maybe Trump wouldn't appreciate. So we'll have to see. Yeah,
we'll see. Speaking of the Senate, of course, Mitch McConnell stepping down in his leadership role. So now the task of replacing Mitch McConnell, 3 names have been out there: John Thune, John Cornyn, Rick Scott. Now, it seems to me there's a lot of people who are Trump supporters that really like Rick Scott. The rumor is that Senator Marsha Blackburn likes John Thune. There's a list that was going out, and some people say the list was bogus. Other people say it was a real list. Senator Bill Haggerty, he has come out on the record and said that he likes Rick Scott. So I'll talk to him about that at 8:06. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on all this?
Bogus or not, I don't think it matters. That's a tactic that these leadership things they go through this, right, where they leak a list, real or not, and then it makes everybody fall in line, or at the very least makes them have to come out and publicly say who they support, which I am in favor of, right? I don't necessarily love the tactic of a fake list, but at the same time, I like the result of a fake list because it is putting people on record. Because remember, this vote is going to be secret tomorrow.
Right.
And as elected officials, in my opinion, they should have to tell us who they are supporting. I don't like secret lists or secret votes. I don't think that serves the people, their constituents, very well. I'm going to give Marsha Blackburn the benefit of the doubt. From what I understand, she has been busy and kind of out of office. And so we'll hear from her soon. But I don't like this kind of dancing around the edges, and that's kind of how I feel about it with a lot of these senators right now. I think that they're trying to walk the line carefully, when in reality, just go ahead and vote for Rick Scott. He's the one who is the most likely to push through the Trump agenda. And if you don't think that it was a mandate last Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Then there's something wrong with how you're looking at things, particularly as a GOP senator.
Totally agree. EJ, sorry, this is a bit of a shorter segment this time around. A very busy morning, but how can people find you on the socials?
Sure. Go find me at EJ Under the Radar on X.